First off, just welcome. Thanks, Matt. Welcome to everyone for coming tonight. And as Matt mentioned, this is the third year that the co-op's been really happy to work with the library on this collaborative series. And on behalf of the co-op, we're just really happy that all of you are here tonight. So I'm not going to talk. I'm going to introduce our guests tonight. And they're going to talk to you about the climate challenge offered by the city of Bethlehem. First, Laura Collins is the director of the Community and Economic Development Office at City Hall. And Catherine Gross is a consultant with WSP, and that's a firm that's helped create and implement the Climate Action Plan for the city. So I will turn it over to them.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Matthew. I'm Laura Collins. As Carol said, I am with the City of Bethlehem. I am the director of our Department of Community and Economic Development. I am just so grateful to be here, and I think that this is an incredible series and a really great opportunity for people in the community to get the resources of the library and the partnership and really like that community benefit that we see so often from the library that stretches beyond the borders of just the physical structure, but really out into the community in so many different ways. It's really great to be here on behalf of the city to talk about an issue that's so important to us, which is climate sustainability and our role as a municipal government, and also just as leaders in the community for helping Bethlehem take its place in addressing climate challenges. So I'm so grateful to be here. I think this is an incredible program. And I'm also really grateful to talk about the Climate Challenge, which is a new and exciting initiative at the city. As Carol mentioned, I'm also joined by Catherine Gross from WSP. And WSP has really been with the city from the start of its development of a climate action plan. Bethlehem has been on the forefront of this issue at the municipal level. In Pennsylvania and in some ways across the country, being recognized for the development of our climate action plan and having done so kind of ahead of some other communities. We're deeply committed to fighting global climate change at the municipal level. It's a huge part of what we do at the city, and that was true in past administrations. It's certainly true with Mayor Reynolds. We just really believe that with partnerships, with education, with planning, with sincere commitment from the mayor, from city council, from our people working in City Hall, we really believe that we can mitigate Bethlehem's contribution to climate change. And we can also help the city be resilient, and we can adapt to the long-term effects of climate change. And that's all a priority for our administration. So tonight we're going to talk about the city's recently launched Climate Challenge, which is a component of the work that we're doing. But before getting into that, I did ask Catherine if she could talk a little bit and help us contextualize that project, the Climate Challenge, within the city's broader climate action plan, really talking us through how we got here and the work that we're doing as a city at the municipal level. We're trying to really take action on our own, lead and demonstrate our commitment in the work that we're doing day in and day out in City Hall, and then from there taking that into the community and asking the community to join us in this climate challenge. So with that introduction, I will turn things over to Catherine.
Great, thanks, Laura. Just want to echo, I'm thrilled to be here tonight. Really excited to be able to join and participate in this webinar series. We, as Laura mentioned, WSP has partnered with the City of Bethlehem since the beginning stages of the Climate Action Plan development process, and now is helping to support some of the subcommittees with implementation. We are located in North Bethlehem at the corner of Broad and New, so we are local. A couple of us, Jeff Irvin at WSP and others, were instrumental to the development of the Climate Action Plan. So we're really excited to continue that partnership with the city as we've moved toward implementation. So as Laura mentioned, the city of Bethlehem is committed to fighting global climate change. It's really been a leader among municipalities across Pennsylvania and across the US more broadly. Some of you may remember as we think back to February 2017, Bethlehem City Council unanimously passed a resolution endorsing the creation of a climate action plan. So it was back in early 2017 when all of this started to take shape. This was during the previous mayor's administration, and it was through the Public Works Department where they began to issue a request for proposals for a climate action plan preparation. And that happened in June of 2019. And then we worked with the city of Bethlehem, the Nurture Nature Center, located in Easton, to develop the climate action plan really in 2020 with the input from Bethlehem's general public, key stakeholders, including the Bethlehem Environmental Advisory Council, and councilman at the time, William Reynolds, now mayor, played a critical role in developing the Climate Action Plan initiative. So this was during COVID, so a lot of the engagement happened virtually, but there was still a significant and substantial public engagement and input that went into the development of the Climate Action Plan, working together with community stakeholders. We had working group members across large organizations and institutions, nonprofits throughout the city, residents, interested individuals, to really help shape and develop what is now the Climate Action Plan. And this plan really serves as the city's comprehensive strategy, the kind of North Star for addressing climate change within the city. So this Climate Action Plan sets out targeted policies, it sets out programs and projects that will help reduce Bethlehem's contribution to climate change. And it also helps the city build resilience and adapt to the effects of a changing climate. So just thinking about we really wanted to frame up the Climate Action Plan as a reminder before we jump into the Bethlehem Climate Challenge, which, as Laura mentioned, is a component or an initiative that has come out of the Climate Action Plan. So when we think about the Climate Action Plan, it's Bethlehem's roadmap for addressing the local effects of climate change. And the purpose of this is to reduce Bethlehem's contribution to climate change and to prepare the city and the Lehigh Valley for the results of a changing climate. The plan includes actions and goals both at the community level, so there's community-wide targets, and then there's also municipal operations targets. So when you think about the community-wide targets, it's a 33% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2025, a 60% reduction by 2030, and net zero emissions by 2040. And then municipal operations, so the things that the city directly has control over through its own operations, is a 67% reduction in emissions by 2025 and net zero by 2030. I also really wanted to underscore the importance of environmental justice. This was a key part of the Climate Action Plan development and is a key part of implementation, making sure that this is integrated throughout all the subcommittees and the implementation sort of mechanisms, as well as, it was a critical piece of the development process. There was a committee, a working group that was dedicated to understanding what some of the challenges are, what some of the issues are, and making sure that there was that voice as we put the plan together. So there's also some environmental justice goals in the plan. There's a subcommittee focused on that. And a lot of the implementation subcommittees, actually all of them, interact with that subcommittee in some way to make sure that we're focused holistically on the community as a whole, and making sure that we're addressing, undue burdens and things like that that may not otherwise be evident. So the goals for environmental justice are to establish a just and ethical long-term framework for climate action, supporting equity for all Bethlehem residents, and then ensuring 40% of overall benefits resulting from the city spending on implementing this climate action plan go to those frontline communities. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Laura, who's going to talk about how we got here.
Well, as Catherine mentioned, the development of the plan back in 2020 and to its publication in 2021 really relied heavily on our partners and community engagement. This work is not work that the city of Bethlehem can do alone. It is not work that any of us as individuals can do alone. It really takes leadership in bringing people to the table, bringing different input and experience and ideas, resources into one space to say, hey, what can we do together to make real impact on climate change? And the process of creating the plan involved a ton of public engagement and public input, community stakeholders, working group members, and just interested people. And some of the organizations that have been critical, not just in the development of the plan, but now in its implementation, are those that are listed here. Our normal partners, the Bethlehem Area School District, our universities and large organizations like ArtsQuest, Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, our health networks, the Parking Authority, Lanta, of course, is a huge and critical partner. Nurture Nature Center, as was already mentioned, and absolutely the Bethlehem Food Co-op plays a real critical particular role in the work that we're trying to do as a community to be more sustainable in a variety of different ways. And that public engagement really has carried through, as I said, not just in the creation of the plan, but through its implementation, whether it's on various implementation subcommittees or now in really taking on the climate challenge and helping us promote the climate challenge to other people. So I use even this as a perfect example. The food co-op, knowing about the climate challenge, hearing about this opportunity for people to get involved, and giving us this platform to talk with all of you about, the work that we can all do together is just, one outcome of being in constant contact and constant engagement, constant partnership with people in the community who are doing such great work and who care and are passionate about these issues. And why are we passionate about these issues, and why is climate action important? I will not spend a lot of time on it because I am very hopeful that the people who are here, already know the answer to that question. The climate change presents us with unprecedented challenges across the world, across the globe, whether it's flooding or air quality. You can see some photos here showing the Canadian wildfire impacts in the city of Bethlehem. We are not confined to Bethlehem's borders when it comes to climate. And that means that we both receive the impacts of actions of others, and we also contribute impacts that go far beyond just the 76,000 people in Bethlehem. And we recognize that, and we take that, really seriously. And I think there's an interesting story in Bethlehem in that regard, having been the home of Bethlehem Steel, taking that past, industrial history and transforming now to be a community that is truly on the forefront of addressing these issues and talking about them in a way that is really putting power behind these efforts is extremely important, I think. And in Bethlehem specifically, we experience climate change effects in a variety of ways. I think at the time of the development of our plan, we had seen that over the past 100 years prior, the Lehigh Valley's annual average temperature had increased 3.8 degrees. Average yearly precipitation increased 5.9 inches. We are dealing with, in Bethlehem specifically, severe temperature and precipitation as some of the climate impacts that hit us directly, heavy precipitation as well. So these are the sorts of things that we know are impacting the city of Bethlehem and that have gone into the creation of the plan. Now, as we're moving from the plan development into implementation, how we've done that is established within the city and with some partner representation, these 9 nine different subcommittees. Because the work that we do touches so many different areas. I'm the director of community economic development. So that department includes, for example, planning and zoning, which has a lot of involvement in land use and transportation and mobility. We also heavily rely on the Department of Public Works for the implementation of this plan as it relates to municipal operations, buildings, some other transportation issues as well. Our health bureau is extremely involved. So, what we've tried to do is bring together each of those different relevant folks and put them together in committees at dedicated times, working on dedicated projects to carry out the climate action plan. And some of the things that we are working on, internally that I think are important to demonstrate how we've gone about implementing the plan over the past 2 years. For example, in our local food and waste committee, we're working on achieving zero waste at large festivals and organizations. And so we've engaged with event organizers and we're establishing recommended waste practices. That's a long-term project, and there's a lot that goes into it, but it's something that we're looking forward to. We're also establishing city-sponsored community garden programs and working to support and engage with partners who are developing their own community gardens. In the area of land use and green space, we've updated our subdivision and land development ordinance at the City of Bethlehem, which governs all development projects, and we've incorporated CAP goals into that ordinance. We also developed an urban forestry master plan. We've secured grants for important green space projects like the Monocacy Way and the Greenway Trail Gap, which we're hoping to move forward with. In the area of transportation and mobility, I hope you may have seen an announcement just yesterday, in fact, that after a lot of work by a lot of different people in the city and collaboration with partners and support from LANTA and the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission and the Bethlehem Area School District, the U.S. Department of Transportation has awarded the City of Bethlehem a $10 million grant to improve the safety of West Broad Street in Bethlehem. So we're going to be able to make some very transformative safety improvements, adding bike lanes, improving crosswalks, curb bump outs, all things that really have been made possible by, in part, the development of the Climate Action Plan, because we were able to say to the federal government, we've been looking at this, we're working on this, we're incorporating into all that we do. Even if a project is focused on safety, we are incorporating our climate goals into it, and it all really is tied together. So we're so excited about that. And so in all of these areas, we're making a lot of really great progress. We had a press conference or an annual climate action plan update meeting November 15th, where we really talked through each of these areas. But it's in the area of public engagement that we're, so excited to be launching this new initiative. Having done work and continuing to do work within City Hall, we really want to know and engage with people on how we take what we know to be a critical issue and take it from maybe 5, 6, or 7 or 8, the 8th issue that you've got in your head that you want to work on and people want to help with, and how do we elevate it a little bit? How do you put it a little more to the forefront? How do we get people to understand that this is something that we can be working on every day as individuals or businesses or institutions, and that we're all doing it together? And that's the component of public engagement that we're trying to accomplish with the climate challenge. Really, we want to make change and we want to do it together, and that's what we launched in November. So we're very excited to talk to you about it. Catherine, if you want to go to the next slide then as well, I'll just dive right in what the climate challenge is. So what we are doing is we are asking people in and around Bethlehem to sign on to a climate challenge that will have you commit to doing work or taking specific action to reduce emissions. And we'll go through exactly what that looks like and what the different types of actions are. But it's something that's voluntary. We're just asking people to sign up, to pick out some initiatives they want to take on, to commit, vocally and publicly to doing so, and to checking in with us about that. And we've organized it into these 5 different areas: city residents, K-12 students, large organizations, college students, and small organizations. And the reason that we did that is because we recognize that each of us, based on our life circumstances, may be able to contribute in different ways. A large organization can take different types of actions to support climate sustainability in a way that an individual resident cannot. And we want to provide everybody an opportunity, and every organization an opportunity to really join us in doing this work.
Great. So based on, as Laura mentioned, what the climate action plan and the Bethlehem Climate Challenge are, let's now talk about why this is important. So the city of Bethlehem recognizes climate change is happening, and it's a challenge that really needs community-wide engagement to innovate and drive progress more broadly. There's a potential to achieve rapid carbon emissions reductions by implementing a range of activities. And it's this challenge that includes activities in a number of different areas that residents, K-12 students, large organizations, small organizations, college students can all engage in to reduce their emissions. So there's actions related to energy efficiency, renewable energy, waste, food choices, low carbon transportation, and the list goes on and on. Those are just sort of 4 of the topic areas. And we'll show an example for what the survey or the actions for Bethlehem residents look like in a few moments. But I think it's really the idea that, getting the broader community involved really adds up to much larger change and much larger impact. And so we're hoping that you will join the challenge tonight or shortly after this webinar, and encourage others to do so as well. So before we sort of get into what the actions look like, there's a couple of different ways that you can join the Bethlehem Climate Challenge. So the first way is going to the We Build Bethlehem website, to the Climate Challenge. The link, the URL is here. And it will take you to a page that looks like this. And there's a red ribbon at the bottom, which has a Take the Survey button. And it shows that it's open for participation. So this is what it would look like on the website. You can also scan the QR code on your phone, and it will take you directly to the website where you can click Take the Survey. When you do either of those 2 options, it's going to take you to a screen that looks something like this. These are just screen grabs for the purposes of this presentation. But the idea is that and this is an example of the Bethlehem resident survey. As Laura mentioned, there's 5 different sort of sub-surveys. And so the first screen that you'll see when you take the survey is to sort of self-select. Do you identify as a Bethlehem resident? Are you a K-12 student? Are you a college student, et cetera? And then depending on which of those you select, it takes you to the specific actions. And this is intended because what may be applicable for a college student might not be applicable for a large organization or vice versa. So as we were developing the challenge, we realized that some of the actions are applicable across the different groups, but in other cases, they're not. You're not going to have a second grader doing the same things as, a large organization would. So this is the screen, as I mentioned. You can select as many of the actions that you pledge to complete to support sustainability and climate action. There's not a minimum number of actions. You can choose all, you can choose one. We're really just looking for you to engage and join us and be part of that process. I think it's interesting that, here we have actions from conducting an energy comfort audit. So this is completing an energy audit of my home or your home, identifying next steps and taking actions to save energy. We realize that this may only be applicable to those who own a home or an apartment, so it may not be applicable in lease spaces, which is okay. There are many other actions which are applicable in those cases. So we really tried to make this, pick and choose your own adventure and own path. And the purpose of this first one, the energy audit, and we link to resources to help you, is to improve comfort, save energy, reduce costs. The second item here is transition to renewable energy. So this is sort of pledging to transition your living space to at least 50% renewable electricity in 12 months and 100% in 3 years. And so the benefits of this are obviously potentially a lower rate for electricity, as well as reduction in emissions. So switching to renewables helps to significantly reduce the emissions used for electricity for your house or apartment. The third is embracing alternative transportation. So this has to do with replacing single occupancy car trips with biking, walking, carpooling, or taking Lanta. So really the benefits of this are saving money on gas, getting exercise, spending time outside, improving your mental health, among many others. The next one here, D, is volunteering in my community. So this would be pledging to volunteer 15 hours in your local community. It could be cleaning up a trail or a park. It could be maintaining a community garden. It could be pursuing a similar activity over the next year. And this has, I'm sure, obvious benefits to everyone, but improving the community, helping your neighbors, a cleaner city, feeling good and feeling empowered and being a member of your community. Letter E here is supporting local farmers. So this is about shopping at one of our local farmers markets or in the local food section of a grocery store or at the Bethlehem Food Co-op when it opens 6 times in the next 12 months. So the benefits of this are tastier food. A big one is supporting your local economy. So that is that one. Letter F here is making zero waste meals. So this is committing to cook 3 zero waste meals each week. And this means using every part of the vegetables, fruits, meats, and whatever else that may be required for the dish. So basically it means having no waste left behind from the meal. So the benefits of this are it can be more cost effective, can be easier to clean up because you have less waste. And obviously the largest sort of benefit is less waste overall. Letter G here is reducing animal product consumption. So as many of you likely know, meat, in particular red meat, is a very carbon intensive process. And so red meat is high in greenhouse gas emissions. So one of the pledges is to enjoy at least one meatless meal and or vegan meal each day. So the benefits for this are beyond reducing greenhouse gas emissions are improved health and, changing it up, having multiple options and different choices that may be different from what you normally do. Letter H here, all the way on the right, is learn about Indigenous communities and gender diversity. So this is pledging to spend 60 minutes learning about gender diversity and the Indigenous community in your area and what you can do to be supportive. The reason behind this is climate change really exacerbates the difficulties faced by these communities. So we felt like it was really important to have that be part of, and having that and learning about that be part of the Bethlehem Climate Challenge. So this builds bonds with neighbors, it strengthens the community, and helps everyone see sort of the broader picture. Letter I here is researching home electrification. So this is just pledging to research options for electrifying the fossil fuel use in your home or apartment. So this could be furnaces, it could be water heaters, it could be stoves. and preparing to replace with more efficient options when they reach their end of life or when, it's time for you to replace them. So this, beyond reducing emissions, can improve comfort as well as save money because oftentimes they're more efficient as well. Letter J here is being a policy advocate. So advocating for low carbon policy that are important to you. So it could be for your school district to transition to electric buses. It could be for city council to create more pedestrian plazas, really any topic area related to sustainability or climate action that you are passionate about. The action here is to be an advocate and to speak about it and promote it and why it's important to you. So the benefits are being able to make a positive impact, have your voice heard, etc. And then lastly, letter K here is to get others to join the challenge. So by checking letter K, you would be saying that you'll get at least 5 other residents to join the Bethlehem Climate Challenge with you. So you'll share the news, you'll spread the word, you'll share the link. We have a toolkit, which I'll talk about in a moment, that can help you promote this. So I know that was a lot. Those are all the actions. As I said, you can select as many or as few as you want. Once you complete the survey, you'll see here in the bottom right corner, you'll see this pop up, and it'll say that you can pick up your Climate Challenge yard sign from the front desk in City Hall. And your name will also be added to the list of climate champions. The yard sign is really cool. We encourage you to put it up in your apartment window or in your front yard to show others in the community that you are part of the Bethlehem Climate Challenge, you're a climate champion, and encourage others to join. There is a QR code on the sign, so if someone is walking by and they're interested, they can get the link and go directly to the challenge itself. You will also, I believe weekly, someone at City Hall adds the newest climate champions to the list. So we have over 85 climate champions so far. So this is a mixture of residents, students, businesses, organizations, as you can see here. So your first name and the first initial of your last name will be added to the list. Every Monday, this gets updated. So if you take the climate challenge and you don't see your name get added right away, there is a slight delay, but we're excited to be able to showcase this and build the community around climate and climate action, and having that sense of community around an issue that's much larger than ourselves, much larger than our community, as Laura mentioned, and really impacts others, as we saw with the wildfires in Canada recently and the impacts that it had on our community, and as well as others. So one thing, so as we hope everyone tonight will join the climate challenge yourselves, and then also help to promote the Bethlehem Climate Challenge to others. So we have created a social media toolkit, and I use sort of social media broadly. It has draft email content. It has a number of other resources in it. So if you go to the We Build Bethlehem website where you would take the survey, you'll see this little paperclip, and there's the toolkit here that you can download. And in it, you'll find sample Facebook, Instagram, Threads, which I guess is now called X posts, with appropriately sized visual assets. There's tagging and hashtagging recommendations, as well as email templates. So we're really trying to make it easy for you to help us promote this within your networks, with your friends, your colleagues, to really amplify the challenge in the community, get others to join, and help to reduce community-wide greenhouse gas emissions. So with that, we hope you'll leave this presentation energized, engaged in supporting the Bethlehem Climate Challenge, and we'll take it to others. We challenge each of you to get 5 other people to join the challenge with you. Whoops. And yeah, we're happy to open it up if you have any questions.
Yeah, and before we do that, I'll just add as well that, I think, we recognize that it is not easy to do this work and to do it in a way that really does make an impact. But the commitment that we've seen in Bethlehem and throughout the Lehigh Valley from dedicated individuals and organizations, even large institutions, to really doing this type of work and putting in the time and effort that it takes to make change has just been incredibly impressive. And I think that we are such a strong community as a result of that. And the climate challenge is cool for us because it gives us an opportunity to highlight the people who are doing a lot of great work already. If those people will just go on and click their name and really say, like, this is the type of work that maybe I'm already doing every single day because I know it matters, and I know that it impacts not just my own life, but the lives of people in my community and across the globe. That's just part of what I think makes Bethlehem so special, is that we've got so many people who have that mindset and have that mentality. And it's what has helped us develop the climate action plan itself. And it is what I think will make this initiative successful as we get it off the ground. So we thank you for the opportunity to talk about it today. And again, can certainly answer questions.